So today's class we're reviewing chapter 7.3, your online homework here. So the questions that we go over here is question 10, 13, 14, 15, 19, 20, and 21. Then if you have time after the Zoom, we will be reviewing for your test. Your first test has 11 questions and it is 55 points. Roughly around 8 minutes per questions. So you have enough time to do your test. It does cover chapter 6.1 to 6.6 and then 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3. Okay, so 7.3, which is the one that we do here, is part of your homework. So let's talk about 7.3 question 10 here. So one thing that I found out students have questions here in chapter 7.3 here is you need to read the questions carefully and figure out what they want you to do. So I think I told you before that if a question asks you for an n integer using by the way, it's all going to be in radians, then your answer has to be in plus n pi or plus 2n pi. If a question is asking us to do from 0 to 2 pi, then your answer has to be in 1 revolution. So don't forget, your answer can be in 1 revolution or it can be multiple revolutions. So make sure you read the question carefully, and I use the same instruction in your test. So please make sure you guys read the instruction carefully. So we are doing question 10 here. And yeah, the unit circle, make sure you have that. I also include the unit circle in your test. So if you just scroll down to the very, very last page on your test, when you do your test tomorrow, I think you will see the unit circle. Okay. So question 10, you will get 3 secant square x minus 3 equals to 0. So this question, if you read the question 10 here, they want you in the n as an integer. That means that it's infinite resolution. So you have to plus 2n pi in this case. So again, we solve for x here. So we just do the very simple solving. So we add 3 first to get rid of this negative 3. And then in order for us to get rid of that 3, we divide by 3. So what we have in this case is secant square x equals to 1 because 3 over 3 is 1. And then we will take the square root of it because that is a square. And don't forget, when you take a square root, you need plus minus. This is something that a lot of students make mistakes. So what you get here is secant x is plus minus 1. Square of 1 is 1. Now, because if you are not very familiar with secant, cosecant, or cotangent, you can always change it to sine, cosine, or tangent by flipping the numbers. So for example is, if I ask you secant x equals to 2, you can flip this to become cosine x because secant is reciprocal of cosine. What you need to do is you just flop the number to become 1/2. So you can always do that. So if you didn't like secant, cosecant, or cotangent, you can change to sine, cosine, tangent by flipping everything out. So same thing over here. What do I do here is I will flip the secant to become cosine. If I flip 1, I still get 1. Okay. So now we move the cosine over, so become the arc cosine. Don't forget the plus minus 1. So for this case, we will use the unit circle approach here. So this one is empty. So I'm gonna do the one that is the empty one. So I'm gonna use the one that is being written down, all the coordinates. Again, class, make sure in your test, your unit circle will be empty like the one I showed to you. I won't take anything with numbers like that. So plus minus 1. So cosine in this case is x. So which angle here will give us plus minus 1 here? Look at the x. Which x value here give us 1 and minus 1?
0 and pi.
So your answer in this case will be 0 and pi. Now, but this question, if I ask for 0 to 2 pi, then your answer is 0 to pi. But since I'm asking this in terms of n pi, or infinite revolution, so can someone tell me what is the next one if I continue going? 0, pi, and then what else?
2 pi.
2 pi, and then
Just keeps going.
3 pi, and then it goes, if I go negative, it goes negative pi, negative 2 pi. Can someone tell me how you write this in terms of n? Where n is an integer here. So what is this gonna be?
Would you do 0 plus 2n pi and then pi plus 2n pi?
Nope.
No.
Look at the pattern
Oh, is it just pi?
with n on it.
Okay.
So if n is 0, you get 0. If n is 1, you get 1. If n is 2, you get 1 pi, 2 pi, and 3 pi, and negative 1. So your answer in this case will be just n pi. You guys all right?
On the test, if you wrote 0 plus 2n pi and pi plus 2n pi, how many points would you?
You won't lose any points at all. Again, if you do 0 plus 2n pi, again, you can ignore the 0 because it's redundant. And then what else you say just now, Ryan?
Pi plus 2n pi.
Yep. I'm fine with it. I'm not as picky as your homework, so I'll still take this one. Okay. Yeah, I think you put this in your answer, they'll mark you wrong, right? Yep.
I noticed that like you write like 2n pi and not like 2 pi n. Like why is that, like, specifically?
Like 2 pi n, 2n pi is the same.
Yeah, like wouldn't they be the same thing?
Yeah, 2n pi and 2 pi n, they are the same.
Okay.
They are the same. The reason why is because they're multiplied, so it doesn't matter for me. 2n pi, 2 pi n, well, they are the same thing. Okay. Next question we have in this case is question number 13. So this question, again, when you solve an equation that consists of square, make sure everything here is in the same trigonometric function. So in this case, they are all in terms of cosine. So you do not need to change anything. If they are not, like one is sine and one is cosine, then you have to use the identity. Some students ask me that, do you need to know all the trigonometric identities? Is that provided in the test? I can tell you that you have to know all the trigonometric identities. That means it is not provided to you in your test. Okay. So this question is very similar to factoring. So go ahead and factor this one out. This is exactly the same as if you change all your cosine x to become x. This will become 4x squared plus 2x minus 2 equals to 0. So if you know how to solve this, good. If you doesn't know how to solve this, pretty bad. Does anyone know how to solve this kind of quadratic equation here? You can use quadratic formula also. You know the quadratic formula, right? They are the same thing, but factoring is faster. So first thing first, you can find out that these are all can be divisible by what?
2.
2. So make sure you, even before you start using, if you are doing quadratic formula, make sure you reduce your numbers. So I will divide everything here by 2. So I get 2x squared plus x minus 1 equals to 0. So anyone know what to factor for this one? I'm not watching too much on the chat room because I got a lot of windows pop up. So I don't know, I have room for. So what's a factor for this case? And if you doesn't know how to factor this, good luck, your test tomorrow. Alex?
Would it be 2x minus 1 and then x plus 1?
Okay, you guys know how to check your answer, right? Just for it. So if you for this, you get this, that is correct. So x in this case is what?
The cosine of x.
No, if you
Oh.
solve this, 1/2, right?
Yeah,
And x in this case is
-1.
-1. So what is this gonna be? And again, x will be changed to become what?
The cosine of x.
So this is cosine x is equals to 1/2. And cosine x equals to -1. Then we move that over. So x in this case is the arc cosine of 1/2. By the way, let me see what did they want. Do they want question 13? Do they want this in n form, right? N pi 2n pi form, right? So if you look at the unit circle, can someone tell me cosine is your x, right? So which x value here give me 1/2? Let me show you.
Pi over 3.
Pi over 3, and what else?
And yeah, 5 pi over 3.
And 5 pi over 3. So in this case, it will be pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3 because this has to be in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. Don't forget, because it is in an in infinite revolution, so this is going to be 2n pi here. Okay, so some students ask me why that previous question that we did do not need to plus 2n pi. The reason why is because that question is a special one because it only bounds from 0 to pi to 2 pi to 3 pi. But this question, because quadrant 1 and quadrant 4 has 2 different types of quadrant. So let me written down here. So if one of them is 60 degrees and the other one is going to be 300 degrees, which is 5 pi over 3. These two quadrant has nothing in common, so you cannot add like the only thing you can do is you add back the whole 360. So that's why for cosine we do that. Then for this case, we find the arc cosine of -1. So by looking at a unit circle, which one is the arc cosine of -1? Again, cosine is x.
Pi.
That will be pi. Yep. But if you look at this, the next one you have to go one more full circle because that will give me -1. The reason last time is 0 because it's plus minus. So this one is only -1, -1. So that's why you have to keep going one full circle to reach back to the pi here. So that means it's pi plus n pi. So you have to go through one circle. So in this case, you got 3 answers, which are these 3 answers. This and those 2. So that will be how you do this question. Okay, so you have 3 answers in this case. Anyone have any questions on 13? Now, 14 is the, I think I record this one. Yep, I did record. Again, please go back and rewatch this if you need to rewatch it. So for 14 is something special. It's because it's not everything in the same one trig function. Because this is in cosine, this is in sine, this is also in tangent. So you cannot do like what we just did in number 13 here. So, but we can do the beginning part because all these things, all these numbers can be reduced. Can someone tell me what number can we reduce here?
8.
8. So we will reduce this by 8. So this will become cosine x. Yep, same thing in the test. If you can reduce your number, everything, make sure, reduce it, you'll make your life easy. Okay. This question wants us in 0 to 2 pi. Just want to put it down there. So you just need one revolution. So you do not need to plus n pi or 2n pi or something else. So this is the one that a lot of students got into here and doesn't know what to do. Now you cannot use Pythagorean identity here. Is the reason why is because it doesn't have square involved. So can someone tell me what can we do here for this question so we can make them one trigonometric function?
Change the tangent to sine over cosine.
Yep, change this to become sine over cosine. So if you change that into sine over cosine, so what we have is this is still cosine x, because that's nothing changed. But since you got sine x times sine x, you get sine square x. And this is 2. Anyone know what to do next? Anyone know what
We
to do?
get a least common denominator of
Yes.
cosine of x.
You are correct. We make the same common denominator. So this one is 1. So we want to multiply this by cosine x, so they are the same. But when you multiply cosine x times cosine x, you get cosine square x. Now, since they are the same common denominator, the LCD, so this one we can combine them. Can someone tell me what is cosine square x plus sine square x?
1.
So this is 1 over cosine x equals to 2. So this is very easy now. So so what I do is I flip-flop with this. So cosine x in this case is what? 1 over 2. So I interchange this. And then you move the cosine over to become arc cosine. So can someone tell me, using the unit circle again, which one cosine will give us 1/2? In radian.
Pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3.
So your answer in this case is pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. And you do not need to no n pi here because your answer is in this form. And do you guys know how to check your answers? Let's say if you finish your test early for solving equations, how do you check your answer, class? Just take this pi over 3 and plug it where?
Into x.
Into your x. Make sure this is in radian form, and you should get 16. And then after that, you plug what? 5 pi over 3 into your x, and you also should get 16. You guys with me here? So if you have time when you finish your test, if you all the equations, you can check your answer by simply plugging it back into your x, and you should get 16. You've got 2 answers, you have to do it twice. And if you didn't get whatever you get on here, in this case 16, that means your answer is wrong for sure. Okay, so those students who have time, make sure you check your answer. Questions? Okay, so this is 2 answers. Next, we're gonna do number 15. Again, this is called multiple angles. So be careful with this. How do I know this is a multiple angle? It's because your cosine here has 3x. So if you look at the previous, your cosine here is only x, sine x, tangent x. This is all singular multiplication, 1. Same thing here, your x is all 1. See, all this x is all 1x. They're all 1x here. So everything we did so far here, they all are 1x. The only thing that is multiple is number 15 or number 16, because you got 3x or 2x next to it. So when you have multiple x here, this is how we do it. So multiple angle. This answer 1 is in n form. So number 15, they want it in an n form. So it means you have to add 2n pi or n pi. So as usual, we solve for x. So what we do here is we add 1 and we divide by 2. So what we have here is cosine 3x equals to 1/2. Now we did this a lot already, right? 1/2. So you move the cosine over, become arc cosine. So usually we got 3x here, but this time we have 3x. So can someone tell me what is the arc cosine of 1/2 again that we did like multiple times?
Pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3.
So in this case, it will be pi over 3 plus 2n pi. And 5 pi over 3 plus 2n pi. And the reason why is because you have to be in the n form. Now, this is usually what we did, and we are done, right? But if you have a multiple angle equations like 3x here, so what you need to do here is you have to divide everything here by 3 now. So So this is an extra step you have to do if you have a multiple angles. Last time, remember when you saw a pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3, but if you have multiple angles, you just need to divide by that number, in this case 3. So what you do here is this will be canceled out, so that we've got x here. So we have to divide. Does anyone know what is pi over 3 divided by 3?
Pi over 9.
Yep. So if you have a divide of like 3, pi over 3, you just multiply the 3 and the 3, the denominators. Okay. So you will get 2n pi over 3. Don't forget, this one also has to divide by 3. Okay. This you will get 5 pi over 9 plus 2n pi over 3. So this is what happens when you have a multiple angles. You will be doing this. Okay, you have to divide by 3. If you have something with this, then you will get x over 3 equals to all these things. So if you have like question number 17, you still solve as usual, but now you got x over 3. Can someone tell me how you get rid of this 3?
Multiply it by 3.
Multiply by 3. So if you multiply by 3, then you have to multiply all these things by 3. So what you get when you multiply all these things by 3? So your answer will become pi plus, because the 3 will cancel with the 3. But don't forget the 2n pi has to multiply by 3, it becomes 6n pi. And then the 3 and 3 will cancel out. In here, you will get 5 pi plus 6n pi. So, so this is something that I will point out to you guys again. If you see 3x, you will divide by everything by 3. If you see over 3, then you multiply everything by 3. You guys got what I'm trying to point out over here? And this is only work when you have what we call as multiple angle equations, where your x in this case is 3x, or over 3x, x over 3, or x over 2. This is called multiple angles. Questions? All right. The next one is 19. Can someone tell me what can we reduce that for 19? What can we divide first? Reduce question 19 by what? What can we reduce here? Anyone? This is, come on, easy. What number can divide 20, 26, and 8?
2.
2, yeah, 2. So what we have in this case is 10. Now the good news is everything is in terms of sign, so we can rewrite this as 10x squared minus 13x plus 4 equals to 0. So I just change this, divide by everything by 2, and then change my sign, become x. Now you need to factor this. And again, this is a very difficult factor. If you don't like to factor, you can use your quadratic equation. Anyone know how to factor this one? Is it factorable? Let's see. Oh, it's not factorable, so forget about it, because the question says use a quadratic formula. See that? So since that means there's no point. If a question asks you to use quadratic formula, means you cannot factor. I can tell you this kind of questions is not coming up in your test. That means that mostly in your test, this can be factorable. Can someone tell me what is a quadratic formula here? You need to know this. This is something you need to know. And your answer has to be 0 to 2 pi. Just put it out this way. Anyone else? Quadratic formula? You should know this.
To b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
Yep. Okay, this is your quadratic formula. And class, if you doesn't know this, also, this is something that you guys like basic stuff, quadratic formula. So put this in a negative. So 2 negative will become positive 13. Can someone tell me what is the square of 13, negative 13? 169 minus 4 times a, which is 10, c is 4, all over by 2a, 2 times 10. Can someone figure out what is this one will be? You have to use a calculator. And 2 times 10 is 20, we know that. What is this gonna be?
9.
9, yes. And what is the square of 9?
3.
3. So this will give us 2 answers. 13 plus 3 over 20. What is 13 plus 3 over 20? Anyone has a calculator? Point something, right?
4 over 5.
4 over 5, which is 0.8. And what's the other one? 13 minus 3 over 20 is half, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
So so again, your x in this case is these two. I just use decimal because it's easy enough. And then what you do is last time, remember, once you finish solving this, you just need to return it back to your x. X in this case is sine or cosine or tangent. X in this case, sine. So this is sine x is equals to 0.8 or 4/5. And then sine x equals to 1/2, 0.5, the same thing. Now this one, we can use unit circle approach. You move the x over, become arcsine. The reason why is because we can do this with the sine. So can you tell me, using unit circle, sine is your y coordinates, which one of this is a half?
Pi over 6.
And
11. Oh, and
I don't
5 pi over 6.
Yep, don't forget, because sine is quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 for positive. So pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6 is your answer here. Pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6 is your answer. Unfortunately, for 0.8, this is something that I want to point out to you guys. How many? 4 decimal place. So definitely we can do that. But for this case, 0.8 is 4/5, and you can tell by the unit circle here that is none of those give you 4/5. If you look at this, none of them, they are either half, √2 over 2, or √3 over 2, or 1 or -1 or 0. So there's nothing about 0.8. So you have to use your calculator here. And what you need to do when you have your calculator, first thing is change your calculator into radian mode. What's my calculator? Radian mode. Now this is degree, and you change to radian. And then you do the arcs. You have to move the x sine over, become arcsine. So you have to use the arcsine of 0.8. So arcsine of 0.8. I think this one needs to be 0.8 first, and then arcsine. Yeah, there you go. So that will give me 0.927. That one, the whole decimal that you see there. This whole number. You guys got it in your calculator? However, I think this one, how many decimal place? 4 decimal place. Yep, I did 4. So however, as you guys remember, sine is positive in quadrant 1, which is your calculator give you quadrant 1, and also positive in quadrant what?
2.
2. So how do you figure out this number in quadrant 2? Example is, I give you an example. Let's say this is 60 degrees, right? Let's use degrees because you guys are doing better degrees. And quadrant 2 will be here, right? So can someone tell me what is 60 degrees in quadrant 2?
$120.
And how can you do that if you doesn't know this? How do you figure out? You take 180 minus 60, right? Minus these 60 degrees, right? Okay. And they're all in degrees form. So for radian, 180 degrees is the same as what radian?
Pi.
Pi. So in order for us to figure out quadrant 2, you just need to take pi minus him. So this is usually same thing here. We know quadrant 1 is pi over 6. In order for us to do quadrant 2, you just take pi minus pi over 6, what you have in quadrant 1. That's why you get 5 pi over 6. If it's a quadrant 3, anyone know how to do quadrant 3? You take pi plus that pi over 6. How about quadrant 4? What happens in quadrant 4? You take 2 pi minus pi over 6. So this is what happens to each selected quadrant. Quadrant 1 is always given in your calculator. So in order for you to find in quadrant 2, you take pi minus that number. Quadrant 3, pi plus that number. And then quadrant 4, 2 pi minus that number. You guys clear with me here? So in this case, I need to take pi minusing it. So I put a negative sign and then plus pi to it. So that will give me 2 point something, 2.2143. Okay, so your answer in this case will be this 2 plus the pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. So in this case, your answer is 0.9273. 0.9273. What was the one I have in my calculator? This number, 2.2143. 2.2143. And then don't forget, they want everything in decimals, so you cannot type pi over 6. So you have to use your calculator to figure out what is pi over 6 is. Pi over, so pi over 6 is this number, 0.5236, just only for this question. 0.5236, and then 5 pi minus 6, 5 pi over 6. So I just need to multiply this by 5 because this pi over 6. That'll be 2.618. Yep, 2.618. Now this question is not coming up in your test. The reason why is because in your test, your answer is gonna be either pi over 3, pi over 4, pi over 6, or 0 or pi. You guys, or pi half or 3. So it's gonna be in a unit circle. Okay, in your test, it's gonna be either 30, 45, 60, or 90, or 0, 180, or 360. It's all gonna be in the unit circle. So you do not need to worry about this special case for 0.8 or something weird number like this. Questions? Anyone? Okay. And you do not need to use quadratic formula to do this. So 20. So this is the one that I really want you guys to pay attention because 20 is the one that is coming up in your test. You find out that when you look at question 20, one of them is in terms of sine, the other one is in terms of cosine. So you cannot factor this. You cannot say, oh, sine is x, cosine is y, because there's no way you can factor x and y. They all have to be in, x or y. So anyone know what to do in question 20? Because this is in your test tomorrow.
Is there an identity to sine squared?
Yes, so you have to change your sine squared to become cosine squared using your identity. So what is the Pythagorean PI? What's the Pythagorean identity for sine squared x?
Would it be like 1 minus cosine squared?
Yep, that is correct. So that is the correct one. So then you have to distribute your 2 in here. So you will get 2 minus 2 cosine square x plus 7 cosine x equals to 5. So if you want, you can rewrite this question. Just get rid of all the cosine. Just change it out. Just put 2 minus 2x squared plus 7x equals to 5. So does anyone know how to solve this kind of this quadratic equation? This is the same as that. I just changed all my cosine x to become x. Anyone? Let's see what they wanted. The answer one in what form? Answer your comment in n. So this question wants us to n form. Anyone know how to solve this kind of equation? This is easy. You guys know when you factor, you always want to keep the highest, the leading coefficient become positive, right? So should I move the 5 over or should I move all this over to the other side?
Move it all over to the other side.
Unfortunately, you have to move all this over here. So your negative 2x become positive 2x squared. Your 7x become negative 7x. Your 2 will become negative 2. That will give you what? Positive 3. And this equals to 0. And then this, you can factor it. Now it's your job. Time to factor it. This is not difficult to factor. And yes, your test will be something like this, where you need to factor this. And if it doesn't know how to factor, please review P4. P4 is a right in your book, P4. So anyone knows a factor for this one?
Would it be 2x minus 1 and then x minus 3?
Let's check it. So yeah, 2x times 2x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x, which give you negative 7x. That's good. Negative 1, that is correct.
Okay.
So x in this case is what? Yeah, make sure you guys, if you're doing what we call, this is what we call as trial and error method. You can factor very quickly, but you have to for it to check your answer. So this is my suggestion to you guys, because as you know that if this is wrong, everything after that is wrong. Domino effects. Okay. So x in this case is equal to what here?
1/2.
And
3.
3. And then we replace back to your x to become cosine. So this case, you will get cosine x is 1/2. And cosine x is 3. And I think we did half for cosine for a long, like since the beginning of this class. So can someone tell me what is cosine, arc cosine of 1/2 is using unit circle?
Pi over 3.
And
5 pi over 3.
Yep. So it's pi over 3. And don't forget, we want an n form. So it's plus 2n pi. And 5 pi over 3 plus 2n pi. Now, for this case, this is what we did so far. For this case, the other case, when you move the arc cosine, you would get arc cosine of 3. Now, for this case, x in this case is undefined. Does anyone know why this is undefined?
Isn't it outside the domain?
Yes, because if you remember the cosine is the whole value. The range in this case is going to be from -1 to +1. And you are trying to look for 3. Your cosine will not be crossing over at 3. So that's why it's undefined. So make sure you guys know that as what is that Alex, right? Say that this is under the domain. So so if your domain, if this number is not between -1 and 1, you will get an undefined answer. That means this is redundant. Okay, so your answer in this case will be just this 2. Anyone have any questions on this one? So this is coming up in your test tomorrow, something like this. So make sure you guys, if you guys want to take a picture of this, question number 20, go ahead. So you guys know what to do. Question 21 is a word problem. This word problem is not coming up in your test because this word problem is super duper difficult. In this coming up test, you only have one word problem, and that word problem comes from 6.1, where you were talking about the sector, which is the kind of like area of a circle, not full circle, but a part of a circle. So we talk about sector. So we'll talk about that once we talk about 21, and then when we review, we'll talk about that one. Okay, so this is not coming up. Question 21 is the next question, is not in the test. Okay, so this is super tough. I should take it out. This is the equation given to us. S equals to 57.3 plus 37.5 cosine of pi t over 6. So this equation is S is the monthly sales of in 100 of units. Asking the skill equipments that approximately this function, where T in this case is time in month. So month in this case, T is 1 is January, T is 2 is February, so on, so on, so on. Determine the month in which sales exceed 7,500 units. Now, that means your S in this case is 7500 exceed. Does anyone know exceed? What is exceed stands for?
It has to be greater than.
So that means this sale has to be greater than 75,000. Is this the correct way to write this? That will be wrong. Why it's wrong is because S is in terms of hundreds of units. So what can we do here?
Divide by 100.
Which you get what?
7.5.
75.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Yep. So this is the equation you have to solve. Okay. Now, I need to put an absolute value over here. The reason why you need to put absolute value over here is because T in this case, not that. Absolute value on this one, sorry, on the T. And the reason why is because T is measured in time. Time cannot be negative, so I have to put absolute value for this case. So, so we solve like usual. So how do we solve for T in this case? Is first we have to subtract what? 57.3. And then what we do next? Divided by 37.5, right? So take out your calculator and help me to do this. Do not, if we can, don't round it. It's going to fool a bunch of decimals. 75 minus 57.3, and then divide this by 37.5. Oh, it's not too bad. 0.47. 0.472. Class, is this going to be in radian or degree?
Radians.
What tells you it's in radian?
There's no label.
No label, and you also can see the symbol pi, radian. Okay, so make sure you have radian. So what we do here is we move the cosine over, so it become arc cosine, right? Arc cosine this fellow. So I'm going to do trigonometry, second arc cosine. So this is 1.079, 1.079, la 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 la. But do not forget, class, that this is in quadrant 1, right? Can someone tell me cosine is also positive in quadrant what?
4.
4. So can someone tell me how you figure out 1.079 la 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 in quadrant 4?
Add 2 pi.
Not add, subtract 2 pi. Because when you add, you get more. So when you subtract 2 pi for this, put minus sign here, and then I add 2 pi. 2 pi. I don't like my calculator. Is that right? I think so. I just take 2 times pi subtract by 1.079. Sorry, this calculator. Yep, that's correct. So this is 5 point something. 20. And then next, what we do here is I want to solve for T. So I will multiply this by 6 and then divide it by pi. So I multiply this by 6, well, divided by pi. So this is for this case. So T in this case is greater than 9.939. And then this one is 1.079 times 6 divided by pi. So that is 2 point something, 2.06. And because this is an absolute value, so this will become less than. The reason why it becomes less than is because the absolute value will give 1 is greater than, 1 is less than. The smaller one, which is in quadrant 1, will be less than. The one that is a greater one will be a greater than. So can someone tell me what number is less than 2.06?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. That means, don't forget, these are months. So January and February. And can someone tell me what number is greater than 9.93 now?
10, 11, and 12.
So your answer in this case will be January, February, October, November, and December. So January, February, October, November, December. You guys all right? This is a very difficult question. And again, it's not going to be in your test. So, yeah. You guys all right? Anyone have any questions for me here?
In future homework assignments, will there be like word problems similar to this?
Yeah. You mean talking about your test?
In like maybe like the next the next exam, and also like in future homework problems?
The next exam you will have quite a few word problems because we're in chapter 7 right now, right? Chapter 8, majority of chapter 8, they all are word problems. Okay, majority of the questions in chapter 8 are word problems. So there are a lot.
Will it be easier or harder than this one?
It's easier. So chapter 8, we are doing law of sine and law of cosine, which is very easy. And it's very heavy on calculator base. So some of you heard about law of sine or did law of sine, law of cosine in high school, and it's a lot of triangles. So it's very heavy based on calculators and word problems. So this is, as I told you, in this test, we only concentrate on one word problem, which we'll talk about it now. Anyone have any, which will after this? Anyone have any questions on this 7.3? Summer, do I answer your question?
Yeah, you answered it.
Yep. So chapter 7 has no, I don't want to cover word problems because these are all not, chapter 8 is a lot of word problems. So we're going to talk about chapter 6.1 now. So we're going to review here. So the review, as I told you, I think I give you the review. So this is a review. So the word problems I'm talking about here is number 3. Okay, so we have time here. So we're going to do some review here. So so tomorrow we can skip a little bit. So I'm not going to go through this tomorrow because 30 minutes cannot do a lot of work. So number 3 in this case is the word problem. It says that this is the water sprinkles spray water on a lawn over a distance of 25 feet and rotates an angle of 130 degrees. Find the area sprinkled to it. So these are the word problems you get in my test. So it's not something crazy like the one that you just see. So we have a sprinkle system, and this sprinkle system will rotate 130 degrees, and it is 25 feet. And they want you to figure out what is the area covered by this sprinkle. So does anyone know what is the formula for this sector? Yes, this formula you need to know. Anyone? Area of the sector here is what?
1/2 radius square, and then isn't it the angle?
Yes, theta. Yep. And this angle has to be in what form?
Degrees?
No, radian. Okay, so a lot of students make mistake here is because they just put, oh, radius 25, plug it in. Oh, theta angle 130, plug it in, and use your calculator, and you get no point. I mean, you get very little points, so you get wrong. So make sure first thing you need to know is change this to become radian. Does anyone know how to change 130 degrees to become radian?
Multiply it by pi over 180.
Yep. So because the degree is up there, so the degrees has to be in bottom here, so it will cancel out. And we know that pi is the same as 180 degrees. So this will cancel the degree. So we got in radian form. So you can cancel the 0. So what is 130 degrees in radian?
13 pi over 18.
Yep. So you just, now you can substitute, now you can plug it into the formula. 1/2 times your radius, which is 25 square. And then your radian is 13 pi over 18. So take out your calculator now and tell me your answer. Make sure you know how to calculate this in the calculator. And your unit is square feet. This is easy, but if you know the formula and if you know how to convert your degree to radian, this is easy. Otherwise, this is tough. Take out your calculator and make sure you guys in the test, I only take scientific calculators, no graphic calculators. So if you have a graphic calculator, please go and buy one today. Go to Walmart, go to Target, go to, even Cupfood sells it. So I will not allow you to have a scientific calculator because of graphic. And we'll go through a graphing once, and that graphing one took the most points of your test. And tomorrow I will go through it again. Or maybe I'll just go through it tomorrow with everyone. So I'll go through the 6.1 and 6.2 and 6.3 today. And then tomorrow we'll concentrate on the graphing ones. Because that one took like, I think it's like 12 points or 14 points. So we'll concentrate on that one. Anyone got an answer here?
Is it 709?
Yeah, that's what I
Exactly 709. Point something.
If you round, it's like 709.04.
Okay, that's good. That's good. 709. I'll take it. Yep. For those students about rounding, you can give me 1 or 2 decimal place. Anyone can give me 2 decimal place for this case? 709.04.
04.
Okay. 70. Okay. You guys all good? Let's see what the answer here. Yep. There you go. Questions? All right. So this is the only word problems you get in my test. So it's not tough. The rest is all probably will be similar to what we have. You guys good? All right, let's try number 1 because I'm skipping around here. So number 1 is given us 5 pi over 4 radians. So the first question wants you to sketch this angle. Does anyone know how to sketch 5 pi over 4 in a standard position? Means this way. If you need help, you can use your unit circle approach. Can someone tell me where is 5 pi over 4 if you want to sketch it? 1, 2, 3, or 4 quadrant?
Quadrant 3.
Okay, so we know that this is 4 pi over 4, which is 1 pi. So 5 pi over 4 is tad bit. And make sure you know it is rotate counterclockwise. So this is your answer in this case. What happens if I put a negative 5 pi over 4? Then what?
Angle goes the other direction, counterclockwise.
So clockwise, so it goes where?
Yeah.
Quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4.
Isn't it 2?
Yep. So make sure, yep, this is quadrant 2 now, and it goes like that. You guys with me? Right. Next, B. Can you find me 2 coterminal angles? One is positive and one negative for this case. So how do you find the positive one?
360 degrees or 2 pi in this case?
We don't use degree because it's radian. So 360 degree is same thing as what radian. How many radians?
2 pi.
2 pi. Yep. So you add 2 pi. And for the negative one, what you do?
Minus 2 pi.
Yes. Do you guys know how to do this in your calculator? Oh yes, your calculator can do this. Take out your calculators. If you have a scientific calculators, ABC is the one that symbolizes your fraction. So if you want to type this, ignore the pi. Don't put pi in there because you make your answer really weird. So in your calculator, in order for you to calculate this, you just type 5 ABC 4 plus 2. And in your calculator, your display will look something like this when you press it. In your calculator, this backwards L means over 5 over 4. Do you guys see that? Yep, take out your calculator. Now I'm going to teach you how to add fractions. Then subtract and multiply. Whatever you want to do with fractions, your calculator do it for you. Make sure you use the symbol ABC. You guys, what you guess when you put this in your calculator?
13
got-
over 4.
3 something, 1 something, 4 like this. You guys get something like this? This means that it's 3/1/4. This is a mixed number. So what you do is you press second shift ABC, you will change it into an improper fraction. So what's the improper fraction in this case?
13 over 4.
And don't forget that now you slot in the pi. So your answer is 13 pi over 4. You guys all right here? Go ahead and try do this in your calculator. Because you can use one, right? Use it. It will make your life easy. And don't forget, once you finish, just slot in the pi next to it and you're done. Anyone got your answer for part B? For the negative one?
-3 pi over 4.
You guys all right here? Now I want you guys to take this one, the one with the negative. I want you to find the coterminal angle. One of them must be positive, one of them must be negative.
Are you allowed to use a graphing or scientific calculator on the test?
Only scientific calculators is allowed. So no graphing if you have a graphing calculators, you have to go and get a scientific calculator. Okay, Ryan? Because I will check your calculators, because the reason why I am not allowed you to use this is because there are graphing abilities of it, and one of the question is graphing the sine or cosine function, and you just type in here, oh, you want to graph sine, or just type in here, my answer pop up. So that's the reason why I do not allow you to use this. I think I said in the first day of class, right? You need a scientific calculator in this class.
Does Texas Instruments, the 30X is
Yep.
good, right?
Yep, that is scientific. Yep. If you doesn't know you have scientific or not, just enable your webcam and then just show it to me. David, is this as scientific? Because usually scientific calculator is like this. You can tell. And then graphing calculator, you can tell the price also. It's like this. This is graphic, no good, not allowed in the test. This is allowed. This is $100 some. This is $20. See the difference? Okay, so TI 30 something, yep, that's good. TI 30 something, 32, 30 something, yeah, that's good. But when you get 80, 90, TI 80-ish, 90-ish, that is not good. All right, again, I want you guys to figure out this using your calculator. What is the positive and what is the negative coterminal angles for this case? What you do, same thing, right? Positive, you add 2 pi. Negative, you subtract 2 pi. Anyone got an answer here?
3 pi over 4 and -13 pi over 4.
Yep, that is correct. Yep. Next, part C is to convert this in the radian. So how do you convert this into radian? To degree, sorry, the radian to degree. Change your pi. Do you know pi is what? What degree?
180.
Yep, just change your pi to 180. So use your calculator, 5 times 180 over 4. That's it. And then whatever you get is your answer. In degree, don't forget the degree symbol. You guys all right here with the first question? Okay, so if they want it to change into degree, if you have pi, just multiply, change pi to become 180, and you will get it. Anyone? Questions? Good. First question. Yep, you will get this question in your test. Next, I'm going to use question 4. You guys all right here with question 1? All right, question 4. So tangent theta is 3/2. And I'm going to, because this one, it says it's a acute angle. In your test, you won't get acute. You guys know what's the meaning of the word acute angle?
It's under 90 degrees.
Yep, but in the test, it's gonna be not acute. It's gonna be 0 to 360. But I also given you that let's say sine theta is less than 0. I want you to find the exact value of all the 5 trigonometric functions. So I just add this in there. So once I add this in there, this is no longer in quadrant 1, because when I say it's acute means it's always quadrant 1 because it's less than 90 degrees, 0 to 90 degrees. But now it's less, with this condition I add on, is in different quadrant. Can someone tell me what quadrant is this condition is?
3.
How do you know it's quadrant 3?
Because tangent is positive in quadrant 3, and then sine is negative in quadrants 3 and 4.
Yep, that is correct. So this is quadrant 3. And how is your triangle looks like in quadrant 3? So don't forget the ribbon. So in quadrant 3, your triangle looks something like this. Yes, you have to use SOHCAHTOA here. This is your theta. And in quadrant 3, can you tell me if you use SOHCAHTOA, what will be this looks like? Tangent theta is 3/2. Which one is 3 and which one is 2?
The opposite is 3 and the adjacent is 2. But wouldn't they be negative? Because
very good, Alex. Yeah. Very good. So if you give me 3 and 2 here, you will get 1 point off in your test. It's because in quadrant 3, both x and y values are negative. So can someone tell me what is your hypotenuse here? Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared give you what?
Next square root of 13.
And this hypotenuse is always positive. So when you guys do the triangles here, your hypotenuse is always positive. I don't care what quadrant belongs to. So once you get this, you can use your SOHCAHTOA to find your sine, cosine, theta, and so on, right? You okay if I leave it here? So let's do this. What's sine theta in this case?
-3 over the square root of 13, but you'd have to simplify it out the radical.
So can you leave your answer like this? -3 over, no. If you leave your answer like this, I will take another point off. So how do you rationalize this? Is multiplied by root 13. So you get what? -3.
Square root 13 over 13, right?
Yep, that's correct. Now, a lot of students just give me this. They don't have sine. They don't have theta. They just give me sine equals to that. And then cosine equals to this. And then tangent equals to this. And then cotangent, all these things. Don't forget, class, without the theta, it's like you're writing something like a hieroglyph. I don't know what you're talking about here. So make sure you put a theta on every single one of it. You with me here? In the test. So sine without an angle is, I don't know, it's like writing weird things that is not understandable. So make sure you guys have a theta next to, an angle next to your trigonometric function. Questions? You guys are, I didn't finish this. You guys know how to do this, all right? Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah, I think I know how to do that.
Okay. Okay, this one, number 8. Find 2 exact value that is from 0 to 360. You saw in degrees now. For cosine theta equals to -√3/2. So how do we do question 8 here? You will use the unit circle approach here. Can someone tell me, cosine is x, right? Which x value here give us -√3/2, square of 3/2?
7 pi over 6 and
in degree.
Oh, in degrees.
Yep. So this question 1 is in degree. So for this, it will be
150 and 210.
150 and 210. Okay, again, class, make sure you know how to label your coordinates because those coordinates is very important. You guys all right here? If you don't have your coordinates, this is very tough. So the question that I just did just now over here is the same thing as 9 and 10. You see that? So question 4 is the same as question 9 and question 10. So I would really suggest you guys to practice this because it is coming up your test. You guys all right? So this is the review. So what you come back tomorrow for the 30 minutes review at 1 o'clock, I will teach you how to graph your sine, cosine, and tangent. Don't do this because this one you need a graphing utility, means you need a graphing calculator. It's not coming up. And I will go through question 16. And I have time now, I'll do 17 with you guys, okay? So tomorrow we do concentrate on graphing. So the graphing, that is what. So make sure you guys know how to graph. And the rest of it we'll talk about now. So we got one more question left, which is number 17. Oh my God, I've got so many things in my windows, I cannot. So number 17 is asking us to do sorry, cotangent, arcsine 308. Find the exact value for this. And the rest you do not need to worry about. Yep, the rest you need to worry about. So 18, 19, 20, you didn't. Nope. So yep, tomorrow we'll do the graphic piece. So does anyone know how to find the exact value for cotangent arcsine 3/8? Anyone? So first thing first, you have to let theta to become the arcsine of 3/8. And then you move the arcsine to that side, and when you move it, it becomes sine theta. So sine theta is 3/8. With this, you can draw me your triangle and apply SOHCAHTOA. So anyone know which one is 3 and which one is 8? 3 is your
Opposite.
And 8 is your
Hypotenuse.
So now we need to find your adjacent. So how do you find your adjacent? You have to use your Pythagorean theorem, which is what?
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
So C squared will be 64, right? Minus B squared, which is 9, and then you square it. Anyone know what is 64 minus 9?
55.
Can you break 55 down? And make sure you guys make sure if this is break it down, you have to simplify it. Can we simplify 55?
No.
No, you're correct. Because 55, the only number that can goes in there is 5 and 11. 5 and 11 is not perfect square. 1 and 55 is not good. So this is your this is the reduced form of it. So what you do now is this whole thing, the arcsine theta is actually the arcsine 3/8 is theta. So this is actually is cotangent theta. Does everyone know what is cotangent theta? What over what?
Cosine over sine.
We can do that, but since we got this SOHCAHTOA, so cotangent is what over what? Opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. What do you do?
Adjacent over opposite.
Yep, adjacent over opposite, which is the reciprocal of tangent. And what's adjacent in this case?
The square root of 55
Over
3.
Yep, this is your answer. You guys all right here? Okay. So make sure you guys practice all these questions that I have. And then this is just for chapter 6. And then chapter 7, make sure you also practice the chapter 7 one. The one that I told you to practice is in chapter 7. If you go to chapter 7, and again, you go to all the way down till the review, the chapter test. I think I told you to do like question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which one? 9. I think I give you some 9 and 9, right? 9. No, I think there are some questions that I call you to do, right? This is all verified identity. I think 1, 2, 3, not, I think 5, 6, 7. That's it. You can do 8. No, yep, just 5, 6, 7. 1 till 7. And then this is solving 13, 14, 15, and 16, right? This is what I call you guys to do. 13, 15, don't do the 2 alpha because that's next section. So 13, 15, 16. So like this one, you can, 16, I think we did it today. What you need to do in question 16. Anyone? This is what we did today in class.
Factor it.
Factor it. What you do in question 15?
Solve for x.
Solve for x, but don't forget you got a square. So
Square,
what happens to get rid of the square? You have to
plus and minus.
Yes, plus and minus square root. This one, 13, you can also what? Factor it.
Factor.
Because they are the same common. You can factor the tangent x out. Let's do one of these proving, because 5, 6, 7. Let's do one, and this is also proving in this case. So which one you want me to try to prove? Anyone? We have some time here. I can do a little bit of proving here. Anyone want me to prove something? Like these kind of questions, you just need to prove. Can you prove this equals to 1? Prove this equals to 1, and then prove this equals to cosecant theta, secant theta. You know, and this one, they say answer is where you need to watch the answer. So which one you want me to do a proving here? You don't need this one anymore. Anyone? Just
You do 3.
3? Okay. Usually in the test, I don't call you to factor and simplify. I want you to prove secant 4x minus tangent 4x over by secant square x plus tangent square x equals to 1. This is proving, because answer is 1. So anyone know how to prove? Again, left or right hand side?
Left hand side.
Left hand side. So what you need to do, the left hand side here. So this can be factored. Do you guys know how to factor a to the power of 4 minus b to the power of 4? How you factor this one? a4 minus b4. Do you know how to factor a squared minus b squared? This is easy usually.
Is it a squared plus b squared times a squared minus b squared?
Yep, you're correct. But now you change back your a and b to become secant and tangent. So this will become secant square x plus tangent square x. Secant square x minus tangent square x, all over by secant square x plus tangent square x. Then what you do next? You can cancel these two out, right? But don't forget, we need 1. So can someone tell me what can we do with this one?
Pythagorean identity?
Pythagorean identity. What's the Pythagorean identity says? For secant and tangent squared. 1 plus tangent square x equals to what? Secant square x, right? So can someone tell me how you write this in terms of secant square x minus tangent square x? So you just need to move this over. So that positive tangent become negative tangent. So what is secant square x minus tangent square x?
1.
1. Yep. This is your right hand side. You guys are okay here? This is how you prove it. So in the test, make sure you just tell me what identity you use. PI is for Pythagorean, QI is for quotient, and RI is for reciprocal. These are the three is the one that we use a lot. So you do not need to worry about call function identity, and you don't even need to worry about even and odd identity, because that we don't do too much in your test. So in your test, mostly we will concentrate, especially your Pythagorean. This is, if you ask me out of the whole identity that you guys learn, the Pythagorean one is the one that is one you need to concentrate on. Not too much on the call function and on your even odd. Quotient, I think only two. Reciprocal, you guys know already. I do not need to tell you guys that. Quotient, yeah, but I think Pythagorean is the main one that you guys need. So out of the whole identity, this is the one. You guys all right? So go home and practice this. This is how we do this kind of work. So make sure you guys practice this. Okay. So that is to the end of today's Zoom class here. Does anyone have any questions for me? Stop.